You know, there's this new idea going around. It's kind of the place I saw it was in this book, Sapiens by Yuval Harari or whatever his name is. And it's a huge book. Bill Gates loves this book and all this. And he puts forward, but this is now a meme going around, that what makes human beings different is we tell these fictions that lead us together. And what does he mean by fictions? He means fictions that that America is a country, or fictions that we have rights, or fictions that Jesus rose from the dead. And what's really interesting to me about that is it's complete misunderstanding. It's almost a Vulcan-style misunderstanding of what fiction is. I've written fiction all my life, and fiction is an attempt to describe truths that are immaterial. But because Harari doesn't believe in truths that are immaterial, he can't understand that fictions can be a way of just communicating the truth. You tell stories about things that you can't just say. Ideas are not fictions. Ideas are ways of trying to describe immaterial truths, things that are true. If an idea is true, it in fact is what we call a good idea, and it makes things better for humankind. I mean, science, the scientific method, good idea. Love your neighbor. People are equal. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We all share this and get it from God, not from government. Capitalism, good idea. All those things have made life so much better in the last 300 years or so. Bad ideas are like diseases. Bad ideas make you sick inside. They twist your brain. They corrupt you. Leftism is a bad idea. Leftism corrupts, and absolute leftism corrupts absolutely. And we have seen this week. This is the week that the media shamed itself. And they shamed itself because they hate Donald Trump. And they shamed itself because they hate you and me. And they shamed themselves because they hate Israel and the West. And leftism has corrupted them. It has corrupted them absolutely. And they have turned themselves. The irony is, kind of God's irony, is they have turned themselves into exactly what Donald Trump says they are. They are now fake news. This was the week of fake news. And Donald Trump was doing one of those things where he sits and listens to people, right? And he's listening to law enforcement officials, especially from California, where they've got all this sanctuary cities, right? And the Fresno County Sheriff, Margaret Mims, comes out and she says, look, MS-13. Now, remember, MS-13, they beat teenagers to death with baseball bats. That's who these guys are. They come from Central America. They're this gang that has come over here, and Trump has gone after them, is waging war against them. But these guys are savages. They beat teenagers to death with baseball bats. That's who they are, okay? And so this poor sheriff is saying, with this sanctuary city stuff, we can't bust these guys. And here's Trump's response.
There could be an MS-13 gang member I know about. If they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about them.
Yeah. We have people coming into the country, or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals. And we're taking them out of the country at a level and at a rate that's never happened before. And because of the weak laws, they come in fast. We get them, we release them, we get them again, we bring them out. It's crazy. The dumbest laws, as I said before, the dumbest laws on immigration in the world. So we're going to take care of it, Margaret. We'll get it done.
What's he talking about? He's talking about MS-13. He's talking about guys who beat people to death with baseball bats, kids, children to death. That's who he's talking about. Animal. He calls them animals. Virtually every mainstream news agency tweeted this out as if he were talking about immigrants. Here's ABC. They just took it out of context. They tweeted out the words and that quote without the question from Margaret Mims. ABC News, this is their tweet. President Trump refers to some who cross the border illegally as animals, not people. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. CBS News, these aren't people, these are animals. President Trump used the harsh rhetoric to describe some undocumented immigrants during a California sanctuary state roundtable. NBC News did the same thing. C-SPAN, President Trump during California sanctuary cities roundtable, these aren't people, these are animals. New York Times, Trump, a former newspaper, Trump lashed out at undocumented immigrants during a White House meeting, calling those trying to breach the country's borders animals, right? Animals. This is unbelievable. If you don't think, I mean, this is what leftism has turned these people into. And you know, I got to play this one other from NPR. This is reporting on the Israeli situation. The Israelis, you know, now that they've found out, now that Hamas has confirmed that 52, I think, of the 60 people killed were Hamas terrorists, they just dropped the story. The story's over. They're just not reporting it. Oh, well, in that case, if we can't condemn Israel and pretend that they're killing children, then forget the whole thing. NPR is interviewing a guy. Listen to this. NPR is interviewing a guy who's flying a kite with a swastika over the Israeli border, and it's on fire. They're trying to start fires in Israel, right? And it's got a swastika on it. Listen, who's this guy on NPR? This the Stephen Inskeep, okay? Listen to the way he interviews this with his gentle, sympathetic voice. And listen to what the guy says in response.
He said it's designed to float over the Israelis and catch fire. It was decorated with writing claiming Jerusalem for Palestinians and also with swastikas. What does this thing mean to you? Why do you put that on there?
The Jews go crazy for Hitler when they see it.
The Israelis know that people are flying kites with swastikas. They know this. And they use it to discredit you, to say this shows you're bad people. What do you think about that? This is actually what we want them to know, he says, that we want to burn them. That is one of many views we've heard in the last few days in Gaza, where at least 60 people were killed yesterday in protests.
Can you imagine if that was a neo-Nazi in Charlottesville flying his swastika kite over a black man's church or something like that? You know, they might feel that you don't like them. Yes, we don't like them. We're trying to burn them, to kill them, the Jews, like Hitler. We want to kill them. Well, you know, people may think you're a bad person if you say that. Yes, we don't care. This is what what are they talking about? It is leftism. Leftism has corrupted their heads. It corrupts people. You know, Spike Lee, speaking of Charlottesville, Spike Lee is in Cannes, the film festival. And I guess he made a film about Charlottesville. And he went off on Trump, and every other word is unprintable. But then he said this about America, okay? Forget the stuff so he hates Trump, fine. But then he goes off on America. And this is what Spike Lee says, and it was defended on TV by some of the commentators. This is his view of America.
The so-called cradle democracy, that's some bullshit. United States of America was built upon the genocide of Native people and slavery. That is the fabric of the United States of America. As my Brooklyn brother Jay-Z would say, facts.
I'm going to end with this, okay? Let's say you had a town in which everybody beat his wife. Every single person beat his wife. And one day in one house, one guy said, you know what? This is wrong. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. So he stopped. He stopped beating his wife. And then you had the kids going around in this house. This house was founded on people beating their wives. And you say, yeah, but this is the house where we stopped. Everybody else is still doing it, and everybody else has done it. Everybody who stopped learned it from us. He talks about genocide. He talks about it founding us on genocide. He talks about our country being founded on slavery. Until us, most countries were founded on taking land away from people, for native people. Until us, there was slavery everywhere. Until the West came along, genocide was a way of life. The West are the people who stopped this stuff. It was endemic to the human condition, and we are the people who stopped it. But leftism just concentrates always. Leftism always concentrates on the bad things, because that is the only attack you can make on freedom. It's the only attack you can make on capitalism, freedom, dignity, human dignity, all the things that the West has delivered to humankind, with America often in the lead. Not always, but often in the lead. And because they hate that, and they find themselves hating themselves, basically, they have become incredibly twisted. This is a week of disgrace for the media. The media has dipped themselves in filth to get at not just Donald Trump, but you and me as well.